It's your boy Jose here with the homie Sean and Don. Say what's good to the people, Sean.
What up, YouTube community?
I said Don though. So today we're going to do the intro a little different, just to give people time to join. Because as you notice, we're missing somebody, and that is the petty one. The petty one got a petty schedule, and so he's at work right now. And so he would be upset if I didn't at least give him about a minute or so to join. If he doesn't join after a minute, that's on him. So while we wait for that minute, I will explain to you what's going on here. So you see the title. We are adding this, making this. This is the second edition of If It Was Me. If you do not remember, you can check the other one earlier on the page. When Shandadan broke down who he would insert into the Hall of Power tournament, or the, not Hall of Power, but the something the Power
Tournament of
tournament.
Power.
Tournament of
Yeah.
Power from Dragon Ball Z Super Universe 7 Squad. You can go check that out. Since you heard, I'll drop a description, or I'll drop a link in the description after this one is over, so you can go to that one too. I said you heard. But this one here, if you don't understand what necessarily it says, booking Raw and SmackDown through Money in the Bank. That means me and the Don are going to go ahead and deal with our frustrations with the WWE Universe creative team in particular, our own special way. And instead of just always bitching about it to ourselves, we're going to bitch about it with ourselves, with you as well. So that way you can see our points are very valid and they make sense. So we can just stop making sense to each other and start making sense to y'all too. You understand? Good, because I understood that. So, without further ado, because we're about 2 minutes in now, we can get started. So, format of this, we're going to go show by show. Obviously, we'll go Raw first, SmackDown second. We're going to go championship by championship. One of us will give where we think the direction to go, who will be involved, what matches they'll participate in at the particular pay-per-views leading up to Money in the Bank, and what will happen at Money in the Bank for them to da-da-da. The series will pick up again after the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, where we will go from Money in the Bank to the events of SummerSlam, and then after SummerSlam, so forth and so forth, as you see the rotation through the main five. This will be a consistent, partial show. We'll do it after every one of the big five pay-per-views. If you don't know what that is, you don't need to be here yet. Go to the baby shows, graduate, and then you can join. So,
It's five main shows. I'll tell them. The five main shows are the core co-branded pay-per-views. I know it's a little different now because WWE decided all of the pay-per-views are co-branded now, but originally the co-branded pay-per-views were the big five. So you had Royal Rumble in January, WrestleMania in April, Money in the Bank in June, SummerSlam in August, and Survivor Series in November. Those are the big five.
yes, I like to call them the takeover pay-per-views now, because those would be the pay-per-views that we get in
Those
NXT.
are also the pay-per-views where you get an NXT takeover, exactly.
Which wives are the most important? I said you hear it. But anyways, let's get it started. Raw, baby.
I don't know shit. Raw, baby.
So that's not an Adam Cole reference there, folks. You're gonna have to. Well, they took it down for some reason. Psycho Sid, shout out Psycho Sid and his nonsense on the mic. The goat,
Psycho Sid, and Scott Steiner are the goats of talk.
Big Papa Pump, among other things.
I got a 63% chance of beating you.
Yeah, there was, in his logic, there was never a way to beat Scott Steiner. Somehow he lost, but in his world, the percentages were in his favor at all times. But yeah, so I guess we should start with the small belts to the top, because I was about to jump right into the Universal, because it seems like that's the one I care the least about. But I guess we'll reverse it for politically correct standards. So, cruiserweight.
We care about politically correct now? Damn, news to me.
Cruiserweight title.
Okay.
I'll
Technically, that's a 205 belt, but yeah, we'll go with that.
Right, yeah, 205. Well, I mean, because they end up on Raw from time to time.
They're technically part of Raw, yeah.
Right, like if 205 folded, they would all be on the
On
opening match
Raw,
of Raw
yeah.
every night. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. So 205 Live Championship, aka the Cruiserweight Championship, aka Cedric Alexander is currently the Cruiserweight Championship. Won it at WrestleMania. I think it was the right decision, other than that dumbass heart versus soul angle they had going. I know some people liked it. It was just weak to
Go
me.
watch the Petty review if you want to hear his opinion on that.
Yeah. But yes. I say from here, if you've been watching 205, since he who shall not be named who beat the case has not been, he got to vacate his belt. And once he dropped his belt, you know, we got the little Rockstar Spud, aka Drake Maverick, the new commish of 205, who came in and gave us a tournament. Now, tournaments in WWE, like they're a very redundant thing that they love to do. They had a whole pay-per-view dedicated to it back in the day with King of the Ring, and then nowadays, of course, if a title is vacated in any shape or form, there's going to be some form of tournament, whether it be a mini tag tournament like we've had, a weekly bracket USA tournament, or a whole special dedicated to it, a la UK or Cruiserweight Classic tournaments. Plug, go check those out on the network. Vince, I want to check. But yeah.
And the Mae Young Classic.
Oh, and Mae Young Classic, yes. But the thing is about WWE and their redundancy when it comes to these tournaments is that
The tournaments are the best thing they've got going for them.
yeah, almost right. Other than maybe some choice King of the Rings, almost every King of the Ring originally did what it was supposed to do and launched a lot of careers, including Hunter and Austin, and it lit in the, like all the cruiserweights, the UK, the Mae Young. They got sequels coming up soon on the network. If you haven't already got it, once again, the network. Vince, I want to check.
Vince, where's my money?
What's the name? Those are the best things. Like every time, it's the hottest thing smoking. So when they say we're having a cruiserweight tournament,
the cruiserweight tournament was great.
right?
The original Cruiserweight Classic was great.
Yeah, the classic, it was a classic. And then this one, I was kind of shaky because I like all the guys on the show, and most of the guys on the show are actually or in that tournament in some shape or form. So I figured, okay, they're trying to hit the well twice. It's not as big of a well, so you won't be watered down with some of those matches of guys who weren't the greatest wrestlers, but they were there for, you know, marketing purposes, representing their countries, their leagues, their brands. They were owners and stuff like that.
Shout out Coda.
Oh, well, and then you had like golden stars like that too that were there just to bring eyes to the tournament. But I was talking more like Hung Kim or whatever dude's name was, and what's his name, and the Bruce and his co-follower, little Bruce Lee dude. But nonetheless, they the tournament did a really good job. Roderick Strong, Buddy got called up. Roderick kind of had a little half duty, you know, two-man or two-show duty thing going on. It put on a lot of good matches. It's got people to take the show seriously. I mean, serious as you can be when your championship is being fought for on the pre-show. But hey, it is what it is. So we're left with Cedric Alexander. If you didn't watch 205 this week, you get Cedric Alexander versus
Buddy Murphy.
Well, actually, it's Mustafa, but it was like a promo battle thing. Like, you know, Cedric comes out, he talks, Mustafa comes out, and then it's like, you know, let me pat you on the back, I give you the cosign, we're still bros, and then Buddy comes out, botches his finisher, and then walks out the ring, Drake Maverick all in his face, da-da-da-da. You get the gimmick of it all. But I did like Buddy, like in the tournament and the past couple matches he's had, definitely did flash off the screen to me compared to like he was in there with former cruiserweight champs, he was in there with other upcoming stars like Mustafa, so he put on a lot of good matches. I'm not mad with him being in the front. His character work right now was pretty decent. I mean, he's just that jacked up rambunctious dude, the tough guy that they love to always have come in. He's basically playing a Brock Lesnar-esque, Ronda Rousey-esque character, just not being the actual UFC background, but he's still the tough guy who had to drop 20-something pounds to come to the division. So I would keep it with him getting the title match at this, what is this called, the Greatest Royal Rumble. I feel like he's such a, his name is so clunky and awkward, Greatest Royal Rumble. Like, it doesn't even sound finished, but whatever. The GRR, as I'm going to call it from now on. At the GRR, I would like to see Cedric and Buddy put on their match. Now, depending on where I go from there, will have to be how good the match is, because as I've come to see, Buddy is very good and he's highly explosive, but he's also high risk, high reward, meaning he's gonna botch some shit. And so if he does it, it's either going to be botchy and still okay because it was a big spot, but if sometimes he can do it flawlessly and you're like, dang, this dude's beast, okay, Buddy Bliss. But like,
Got to keep the pettiness alive, huh?
you know, I mean, that's what it comes to mind now. Every time I see him, I'm waiting for him to put his hand up and do the thing with the fist, close the fist down when he comes out. But yeah, so I would keep him at the GRR versus Cedric. If they put on a banger, then I would have to say I would stretch that out. Do I think they're going? I think they would put on a banger better than what Mustafa and him did? No. And so therefore, I would have them. That would just be like, you won the #1 contender shot. Boom, we're going to play that out. Let's get it going. After that, I would have out on the next 205, you know, they would come out, have Buddy come out, he would talk his little shit, try to, you know, basically do what they normally do and try to talk himself into a rematch. And then, of course, I would insert, they have a nice little feud going on that I would insert Drew Gulak and Mark Andrews and Tony Nese into the picture, where one of them, you know, I have Gulak come out and viciously attack and put him in the Dragon Sleeper and make him go to sleep. Buddy Bliss, roll him out the ring, and I would drop him down to, like, you know, put him on the mid card, the upper mid card. He'd be staying in that #1 contender flowing area so until he get a little bit more polished. But I would definitely let Gulak, Andrews, and Nese tell this story and give it the added effect of whoever is going to what's it called? Whoever is going to come out of this, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, it's a nice contrast. You got the submission guy, no fly zone, and Gulak, who also has his PowerPoint presentation gimmick thing where it's kind of over. People are digging it. He actually finally showed a PowerPoint one time on 205, like, what was it, 2 weeks ago or so? So it's starting to pick up some steam with that, even though it kind of, after Enzo, it had took a stall. It could have been over, but it's over. It's over-ish. So then you got the high flyer Mark Andrews, little guy, boom, and then you got Cedric. Now, I like Cedric. No, not Cedric. I'm sorry, Tony Nese. I like Tony Nese a lot. The premier athlete. I don't know how. Now, I think they need to build the gimmick around the catchphrase. I got 8 reasons or I got 8 reasons why I'm better than you, and they're all verified on Twitter. They need to play that. Give you everybody. There's always been so many vain characters. There's hella vain characters throughout the history of wrestling, but that saying is hilarious. It feeds into the social media thing that we got going on. Like, our world is based on social media, and dude's chiseled out of granite, but he's the combo. He's Gulak and Andrews together with a powerhouse aspect to it, because he can do all the technical stuff, not as good, but he can do tech like Gulak, but he can fly like Andrews, but he also has the frame and power to go ahead and do some crazy spots that he's done since he's jumped off the Enzo train. So yeah, I would have to take them and make their rivalry mean a lot more by giving them the #1 contender shot. So they would, couple in all the 205s, have them do a couple different matches here and there. Maybe have one for a stipulation and somebody gets jumped. Y'all know how that goes. But that would take place in between here and well, damn, I forgot. Backlash is literally like a week away, huh? As you said, it's like a week, the week after the GRR.
It's a week after the GRR. Yeah.
Okay, so, well, hey, we're going to go for the gusto then. We're going to do it like this. At that Tuesday, on the after fallout of the GRR on 205 will be when Buddy comes out and talks his yin-yang, and Gulak will still attack as planned. But when Gulak attacks, Mark Andrews comes to the rescue and to save Buddy instead of Gulak cutting the promo. That in turns him getting ragdolled because he's like 160 pounds, and he ends up in a sleeper. And then Tony Nese comes out. Tony, and I just have them fight it out, and then have Maverick pull a William Regal, because who doesn't love a William Regal match reveal? And come out, yo, what's good with all this? Y'all being crybabies. I'm tired of this nonsense. Da 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 da. You ain't gonna do this on my show. Look, we got backlash coming. I put them on, have them open the card, maybe even the pre-show again, because it's not going to be a title match per se. But so let's say the pre-show of Backlash, I'll have them, tell them to go out there and tear the house down, take the restrictions off that were on the WrestleMania match where they couldn't fly like they wanted to as much as they could. Let all three of them go out there and tell whatever story they want to. I would have the outcome personally be Nese. If not, Gulak. Andrews is cool, but I just don't see him, taking it there yet. If they do the UK show, yeah, but I don't see him being able to do anything for the championship right now. So I would let Nese come out of that. Then that would drop Gulak into that upper card level with Buddy. Let them start a little tick for tat thing or something. Get that and let that, what's the name, start building steam. Get that PowerPoint thing to start building steam. Let them cut some funny ass PowerPoints about Buddy being a rager and too big for the division and all that type of stuff, and have Buddy just do what he does. But let him get more crisp working with a technician. Then I'm basically banking my money on Mustafa and Cedric kind of just telling the story, taking it kind of old school, not really putting on too many matches, maybe putting them in some tag matches, getting them involved in that Lucha House Party. I don't even know what to call them. You're Fired. I don't know. Team You're Fired with Tozawa and what's the name? I got them, and insert them in that for a little bit. Insert them into the Gulak thing. Take some other guys that aren't really getting too shine and insert them in that too. But don't have a championship match. The championship match we got. So after Backlash, what's the next pay-per-view? Okay, go turn it on. Oh, okay, so Money in the Bank. Okay, cool. So that's the one I'm trying to get to. So, yeah, so then after Backlash, basically all that space that's going to be in between Backlash and Money in the Bank, I'm going to use that for Cedric and them to build their rivalry up and let it end on a real high climax. Of course, it's Money in the Bank, so they're going to have a ladder match at Money in the Bank. I'm going to let them go balls to the wall. We already know that Tony Nese is going to be the number one contender. Maybe, have him do some float around stuff with Andrews and back and forth until after Money in the Bank. And then after Money in the Bank, y'all have to wait for after Money in the Bank to see what happens. I said you heard.
Can you tell he likes his 205 guys?
I said you heard 205,
baby. Excuse me. All right, so 205. If I was doing it, I would say pre-show. Well, no, I guess it won't be on the pre-show. I guess it's on the main card. But the title match, we already know it's Buddy versus championship. Yeah. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Cedric's gonna win that match. Just gonna throw that out there right now. So that kind of impacts all the decisions after it. Because if Buddy Murphy wins, then it's a totally different outcome.
Right.
So after that, you're gonna have basically this big pool of people, and it's like, how do you decide the number one contender? I think that the way you do that is you have a fatal four-way match between Buddy, Tony Nese, Mark Andrews, and Drew Gulak. Whoever wins that gets the number one contender shot for Backlash. So that will be the Tuesday after the Rumble, because there's not a lot of time in between. Whoever the winner is gets their title shot at Cedric at Backlash. probably going to lose, to be honest, regardless of who wins, because I think they want Cedric to have the belt for a while. If I'm picking who I would like to win, I'd actually like to see Drew Gulak win, just because it's a different style of match, you know. I mean, no disrespect to Mustafa, him and Cedric had a great match at WrestleMania, but it would also be nice to see the contrast of styles, the technician submission specialist versus the athletic, more high-flying wrestler. So that's what I would personally like to see. Who knows what's going to happen? They might not even do that. They might not even do a fatal four-way. So we'll see. But if I was booking it, that's what I would do. Cedric wins at Backlash, and then there's this nice like 4-week gap in between Backlash and Money in the Bank. So Money in the Bank, we're gonna do something different. We're gonna have a cruiserweight ladder match. So Cedric, we're gonna have pretty much all the main guys. So you're gonna have Cedric, you're gonna have Buddy Murphy, you're gonna have Tony Nese, you're gonna have maybe Mark Andrews. Tentatively, I'll say Mark Andrews. You're gonna have Drew Gulak, and pick another person. Basically, it could be pretty much Mustafa. Could be anybody.
Tommy.
And yeah, it could be a Tommy, but probably Mustafa. And they're in a ladder match.
Oh yeah, Mustafa.
Probably my big twist is the finish of that match, which is going to be. It looks like Cedric is going to win and retain, and out of the crowd comes the king of the cruiserweights.
No.
And he comes out, knocks him off the ladder, climbs the ladder, and grabs the belt. And that sets up your rivalry for everything after that, which we'll get into once we get to Money in the Bank's pay-per-view. That's how I would do it, because we already know he's been talking to the company since Enzo got fired, basically. And
right.
So how do you bring him back and make an impact? Well, how about interfering in a title match at a major pay-per-view? That's one way to really kind of cause commotion. So
call it an open invitation or some shit, and everybody threw their hat in, and then he just showed up like, "This is my hat, nigga." Gotcha.
Right.
Okay, well, since we saying our finish of Money in the Bank on this one, how I would finish it was I was going to have Cedric beat Mustafa in the ladder match. No jumps, no Neville or nothing like that yet. I got a lot of more twisting things leading into Survivor Series, but so yeah, Cedric wins as of now to go on.
So yeah, that's how I would book 205, and then all the while you've still got like the lower tier guys battling it out. Like you're gonna have more rivalry with Lucha House Party and Tozawa and Atami. You're gonna have more of the like lower tier guys just kind of trying to make a name for themselves, and you never know. I mean, somebody could really steal the spotlight. You know, I mean, you've got like basically what 2 months, 3 months to go, so. You know, you never know what's going to happen. You could see some random guy we're not even talking about, all of a sudden they get pushed up the card because fans start liking them. So there's not really any predicting how the WWE universe is going to react to things. It all just depends. So,
Right.
But yeah, and maybe have Itami and Tozawa versus Lucha House Party. Do some type of crazy stipulation match on one time, like have them do, I don't know, a ladder match or I don't know, something type of stipulation more than just a regular match.
Have a table match with a bunch of false finishers.
Right, table match. You could even do like a steel cage match to prevent outside interference or something, like because it's 2-on-2. So say, well, you guys have a third member, so to keep them out, we're gonna have a steel cage match. I mean, there's a lot you can do with that. So, but yeah, that's how I would book it out if I were in charge.
See, that's actually part of one of my storylines later on, but nonetheless, okay. So, next belt after that would be, what would be the next lowest belt you would think on the Raw side? Tag belts.
Well, I mean, and yeah, are you talking? It really depends on how you look at it, but yeah, it would be the tag belts.
I just mean as quality of who people care about as of right now after everything WWE has
Yeah,
done to it.
I'd say the tag belts then. Yeah.
Yeah, since Nicholas had to drop his title because of his fourth grade math class.
Right, right, yeah. The dumbest
Uh,
shit ever.
okay, so you want to lead off on this one?
Yeah, I'll take the lead. So tag team, obviously we got this whole tournament thing going on. I guess the next match will be on Raw. It's the Revival versus Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy. Whoever wins that match goes on to face Cesaro and Sheamus at the GRR for the vacated Raw Tag Team Championships. Um, I would be really upset if they had Braun and Nicholas, as cheesy as it was, beat the Bar just to have the Bar end up with the belts like 3 weeks later. So I'm hoping that whoever wins that match, whether it's the Hardy and Bray Wyatt, or the Revival, who I actually really like, I hope that they're the team that ends up winning the tag team championship match at the GRR. But we'll see what happens with that. In terms of Backlash, I think you've got to do. All right, well, I'm in charge of booking, so I'm going to decide how I want this to play out. I'm going to have the Revival beat Hardy and Wyatt. The Revival beats the Bar for the Tag Team Championships. Then at Backlash, you have the Revival versus the Good Brothers for the Tag Team Championship. That's how I would book it out. And then when you get some Money in the Bank, I would have it be the Revival versus Hardy and Wyatt versus maybe just Hardy and Wyatt. I don't know. Maybe another team in there, but have them do a TLC match for the belts.
Okay. And that's at the TLC matches at where?
Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank. Okay.
Yeah. So it's hard to predict with tag teams because you never know who's gonna get put together randomly, who's gonna make a comeback, who's gonna. I mean, it's just
meet the almighty heel turn.
Yeah, it's really hard to predict with tag teams because they kind of break up, or if someone gets injured, then the tag team has to temporarily go on hold, and so you can never really for sure predict what's gonna happen. But
this is what I got going in the tag division. Where we at? Okay, so we come. Nicholas drops his belt, and then now we're the tournaments or wherever. Yeah, okay. So I got Hardy and Bray putting down the Revival, but putting them down in a good way to where it's like, okay, it's definitely not a clean finish. There's definitely going to be some laughing trickery going on. Something that's going to really, you know, how the Revival is all about, you know, fists and no flips, and it's all fists and da-da-da. So some type of trickery, maybe even if I have Jeff interfere, something like I'm not going to have nothing clean for a minute. So it'll be like, you know, maybe Brother Nero or Jeff or something like that. Like, cause, you know, right now, Jeff and Nero are two people. Jeff is an IC title. Nero is just off at the factory at the Lake of Reincarnation and shit. So I would have like maybe a Nero appearance, just him do a flyby, whoopee, swanton on somebody, and then that pisses the Revival off, so they keep this like stigma, because like, you know, they don't like somebody got one up on them. They're used to cheating and getting over, but they're the ones that do it. You can't hustle a hustler now in Rawdale. So what's his name? They got like a stigma right now with that. So they come in. that leads us over to the Raw after the GRR. Oh no, that takes us to the GRR. So we go to GRR and it's Hardy's and the Bar, and I have the Bar getting screwed out of their getting screwed out of their opportunities because Sami Zayn and KO hit Sheamus with the power bomb onto the apron, which in turn puts Sheamus on the shelf. He comes and gives his retirement speech. My shit's falling apart like Edge. I'm done. Cesaro goes off into the IC title picture. No more Burr. So KO and Sami Zayn basically are at when they do this at the GR. Neither one are hired at this moment, but they basically force Kurt Angle's hand that, hey, you don't got a tag team, you're missing a tag team. What's up? So they come in, they force their way onto the show. They're the new tag team in the division, but Bray and Hardy are the champs because of the actions of KO and Sami Zayn. So now KO and Sami are in the division. That doesn't sit well with the Good Brothers. They go in, they start a rivalry with them. So now Bray and them, they go on. I'll let them on the week leading up to Backlash. I have it, something set up to where early on Raw, they come out and they give their little talk, whatever. Titus Worldwide comes out, they squash Titus Worldwide. If it's up to me, like it is, that would get rid of Titus World. Well, that would make Titus Worldwide no longer Apollo. Apollo would defect. I'm done. He goes solo, and Titus becomes a women's manager. I would pair him with some women that need a mouth and let him get them over, and then them go on to their own solo careers. Because he's not a bad wrestler, I guess, but I just don't see it for him. Apollo still got hope as long as he stopped yelling worldwide. But yeah, so that leaves us now after that tag team dissipates and Hardy and them are on top of the world. Finally, boom, rival music. They come back with that stigma. You screwed us, da 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 da. You never cleanly beat us, blah blah blah. All that flips, blah 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 bullshit, da da da. All that, all weird as shit. Y'all don't deserve the titles. Can't have freaks having the titles. We need wrestlers that have the titles. We're the best tag team. We're sick of the bullshit, da da da. So they cut the fire on them. Bray steps out like, hold on, I got this one. Finally says something. All right, you want these belts? Come get them, type shit. Backlash. Wyatt and Matt versus the Revival. Wyatt and Matt. Wyatt and Matt win at Backlash, which. They win, but it was more of somebody. I'm not gonna pull the injury card, but once again in the match, somebody gets distracted. One of the Revival niggas wasn't on the game. Something was off. Matt and Bray still to win. Maybe some Hardy magic or something, lights flash, Bray's face, skull and crossbones type shit. I don't know. Something happens. So now, they started with the mind games and stuff, making little vignettes, laughing at them. Y'all can't beat us, this, that, and the third, blah, blah, ha, ha. Y'all can't beat us. I have whoever I ended up having come on top of the KO and Sami Zayn versus the Good Brother rivalry. I would have them come through and have like a nice little short, intense, little heated thing going on right before Money in the Bank, and then Money in the Bank would come to culmination with a TLC match involving that third group. Revival have finally worked their way back into it. Money in the Bank, Revival get the titles up off of Bray and Matt. Don't know what I would do with Bray and Matt after I have them drop, but yes, I would have, make them work for it a little bit just to add to that ruggedness of their character to when they finally get them. And then I'll probably, that's after Money in the Bank, so we'll have to see. Well, y'all have to see. Okay, so that was the Raw tag title. So what's after? What would be next? Women's Women's Championship.
Yes, Women's Championship.
Okay, so.
Well, you could go Women's or IC, but I'm guessing you're gonna say Women's is more or less important than IC. So.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'm gonna say the women's is less important. Not by any disrespect, just because it's the IC title. Look at who had the IC title, and up until recently, look at who had the women's title. And we'll go put it this way: China had the IC title. That's all I need to say. So, women's title. I like where we're at. I just need. See, my women's shit is about to be mad wild. 'Cause honestly, I know next time we do this, I'm gonna have to change everything I say because nothing I'm about to say is gonna be even close to happening. So when we get to the Money in the Bank show, and I have to pick up where they're at and try to change from what I put into place, because none of this is about to ever even come close to happening.
You acting up.
But what I'm about to do is this. So Nia has the belt. Alexa runs off to Smackdown. I will get to y'all where she goes and does after with that when we get over to the Smackdown women's picture. On the Raw women picture, we now have seen after the shakeup an influx of Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Natty, and Naomi. They all come over. They're not a faction, but they do all come out one night, and they basically, stay after oh well, yeah, because they're not even part of the GRR. So I'm picking this up after the GRR, where they come out and stay. Look, we was the top dogs at SmackDown. I won the Ovaries Battle Royal, and I'm the most recent champ before I got screwed. And I'm the first ever champion that they like to have me put people over. And then who was the other one? Becky, Naomi, Charlotte.
Natalia.
And Natalia, and then Natalia. Shut up, cats. That whole thing. I'm the greatest, best there ever was. Bill B, Bret Hart. So, bring them in, and I basically had them run the gauntlet between now and Money in the Bank. All of them four, and yeah, them four. Maybe a little splash of Ronda in there, but Ronda gonna actually how I would do it. And I know this is gonna be like, no, why would you kill her that quick? I'm not killing her. I'm helping her character build. Now she just came in. She actually probably be the first one that felt the wrath. She gonna come in and get beat within like 2-3 minutes by Nia. Not at the pay-per-view, on a Raw, dark show, something. She's going to drop to Nia quick. And everybody's going to be like, oh my God, Ronda Rousey. And then I'm going to have Nia cut fire on her like, don't think just because you beat the boss that you can take on the champ. And so now that's going to send Ronda off onto some Twitter, Instagram stuff. I want her to start, last time I crumbled, this time I won't. This time I'm coming back stronger. Have her build her off-screen persona, because she's still real weak in that category to me, to where it's like, you can't lose. If you lose, everybody knows in real life you talk about you want to commit suicide. So if you lose again in this, how is you gonna handle losing? You know what I'm saying? How can we believe you're a comeback fighter when we know you're not? So that's where I'm gonna start this at. Have her do that. Then I'm gonna let Nia go through the gauntlet. I'm gonna let her go ahead and body Natalia. She gonna body Naomi. She gonna body, no, she ain't gonna body Lil Rick, but she gonna beat Lil Rick because Lil Rick got other shit going on, which that she had a little Oscar problem. She got a little SmackDown lingering problem, which yes, I will be letting women jump back and forth, but she got a whole bunch of feelings going on with Becky, and she feel guilty for all her success. She got a lot, but it makes sense a long down the line. So she getting it, and then the Becky and the Nia thing is the big clash of the heads. They go ahead at they put on, they go ahead and put on a banger at Backlash. I'll probably get them Not like I need 2 weeks before we get into Money in the Bank, where Ronda makes her return, beats Becky, and then she's like, "I'm back. I got Wes Basler. I've been training. I ain't going down like no sucker again." Then her and Nia, Money in the Bank, she finally gets that same knee that Bliss worked on back at Mania. She tap her with a leg bar. And then Ronda now has the women's championship, insisting that she is a full timer, not giving the bitch the belt if she's a part timer. So this is in the world that she's a full time wrestler.
All right.
Oh, and just to include in there, Bailey, Sasha, and quote unquote Absolution are all on SmackDown as well. They went. They didn't go with Bliss, but they went. And once again, when we get to SmackDown.
All right. So what do I want to do with the Raw Women's Championship? All right. So here's how I'm gonna book out Raw. Charlotte Flair comes over in the shakeup. Charlotte and Asuka have another match as a follow-up. I mean, the storyline pretty much writes itself. It's like, you beat me and ended my streak, but now I'm going to prove that I can beat you because I'm better than you. I want my rematch.
Right.
Charlotte's going to give her a rematch at Backlash. I'm going to say no stipulations on that one. It's just going to be a regular match. But Asuka's going to win. So now they're going to be even, 1-1. Then that's going to lead up to Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank, they're going to have the, winner takes all, so to speak, of rivalry. And the way that that's going to play out is with them having a stipulation on the match. So could be 2 out of 3 falls, could be a ladder match, could be, although a ladder match wouldn't really make sense unless they were going for a belt, so I guess that wouldn't really make sense. Yeah, some kind of stipulation on the match. I would have Charlotte win, and then that's going to lead into the storylines after the fact, which you'll have to wait and see. But there's that's an ongoing storyline of the ramifications that come after that. So that's Charlotte and Asuka. Now we've got the whole Bailey versus Sasha Banks thing. So I know WWE's kind of been trying to downplay it, like they didn't even have them in a match at WrestleMania, which was stupid. They should have. But the way that you build that up is pretty simple. So at Backlash, they're gonna have a regular match, but it's gonna be, because like neither one of them is the champion or anything, but it's gonna be some type of stipulation, like maybe have them do, I don't know, like a steel cage match or like a hardcore rules match, something like that, because they've both been getting like more and more aggressive as this whole thing has played out. So you can't just have them do a regular match. Like there's got to be some payoff to the bringing the aggression out of Bailey, kind of teasing that she's going to make a heel turn and things like that. There has to be a payoff where they have like an elevated level of violence in the match, to put it bluntly. So I would say Extreme Rules, although Steel Cage also works for the same purposes. To be honest, it doesn't really matter who wins the match, because it's not resolved. So whoever wins the match, let's just say Sasha wins the match, doesn't really matter. But it's an unresolved situation. that has long-term booking, as I was talking about with you the other day. So the long-term booking of it is at it goes after Money in the Bank. So without getting too much into it, the general idea would be that at SummerSlam they have a last woman standing match, and the loser has to leave Raw, basically. And that's how that plays out. And then even after that, you can extend it even further by having it be like, okay, let's say Bayley actually wins and Sasha has to leave Raw, but then Sasha's on the women's team for Survivor Series, or she's not on the women's team for Survivor Series, but she actually interferes in the match.
You're going too far. You're giving too much of the ammo. too much ammo.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying because like the chances are this isn't going to happen anyway because WWE doesn't care about our opinions.
Well, yeah, right. So, yeah, we listening. Yeah, we will have to rewrite. Most of this
so most of this shit is going to change after Money in the Bank anyway, right? So, right. But anyway, the point is long-term booking. People, I know it's like a dying art form. What's a long-term booking? The last long-term booking they had was The Rock versus Cena.
Everything would be long-term booking with me. Except for my long-term booking would be amazing. That's what this show is for. Y'all will see shortly.
So that's how that would play out. And then with the title situation, you've got Nia. I think Nia probably... Well, I do agree with you. I think Bliss probably does go back to Smackdown. So Nia needs a contender. That could be Becky Lynch coming over. That could be Ronda, although I feel like that would be a little bit too soon of a push for her to just like throw her into the title match.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are a couple other women. You know, Ember Moon just got called up, so we could see her come out and try to get a quick push. I mean, the possibilities are there. They could even have like a #1 contenders match where it's like, you know, Ember versus Becky or something like that to try to figure out who's going to face Nia for the belt. Right. I do think that they're going to keep the belt on Nia for a little while. That's just my opinion, of course. I don't know, who knows what WWE likes to do these days. So I think regardless of who ends up facing her at Backlash, Nia's probably going to keep the belt and retain. So.
What about up to Money in the Bank?
I don't know what to do with Money in the Bank because Money in the Bank is already such a loaded card, like, because you got 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches. You've got, well, actually this year they might have 4 Money in the Bank ladder matches. They might have a Raw men's and a Raw women's, and then a SmackDown men's and a SmackDown women's. So, or they just do a generic Money in the Bank where they have it be a men's match and a women's match, and then the winner can be from either show. But so then you've still got to do all the title matches. 4 from Raw, 4 from SmackDown. Right. And then you've got the title matches, which, you know, how are those going to play out? It's hard to predict what will happen with Money in the Bank because, like, okay, so let's just say it's Becky. Let's say Becky comes over from SmackDown and says she's tired of getting screwed over. She hasn't been utilized over on SmackDown. And they put her in a title match with Nia. Nia wins. Well, then who does Nia face next? Like, do you give Becky another shot? Because if I'm going with my booking, that takes Charlotte and Asuka out of the equation, and that takes Sasha and Bayley out of the equation. So those 4 can't really be involved in the title match now. So it's kind of hard to see, like, how's that going to play out. Like, maybe Ember by that point has enough momentum to get a title shot. Maybe Ronda gets a title shot. Maybe that'll be your #1 contenders match is Ember versus Ronda, and they have Ronda win to face Nia at Money in the Bank. So there's a couple possibilities there for how that plays out.
Well, see, I'm going to cover my women's Money in the Bank match when I do SmackDown, because once I explain that, then it'll explain that. That's it here. So, that puts us at the IC title. What do you got going on with that?
Well, we already know that the IC match at the Royal Rumble is I'm sorry, the Greatest Rumble, GRR.
GRR.
Um, it's a ladder match between Seth, The Miz, Finn Balor, and Samoa Joe.
Mm-hmm.
I think Seth is gonna retain, but if
Yeah, I
he
would think
doesn't,
so.
if he doesn't, the only other person I would see winning that is Finn. I don't think The Miz is gonna win, and I don't think Samoa Joe is gonna win that match. So I'm just gonna go with the premise that Seth retains. Which leads us into Backlash. Samoa Joe is basically gonna. I mean, Samoa Joe basically said he's gonna be on Roman Reigns' watch list after the Greatest Rumble. Uh, so that kind of takes him out of the equation. Backlash, I would say the thing that makes the most sense is for Seth to have the belt, and then, I mean, you can do a match with The Miz, although I really don't want to see it, but they could have The Miz involved. Actually, what I would like to see is have Bobby Lashley in the match for the IC title. I don't know if they're going to do that, but that's what I would like to see. So have Bobby Lashley versus Seth at Backlash, but Seth retains. And then going into Money in the Bank, have it be like a. I mean, look, can we just make Money in the Bank the ladder pay-per-view? Can every match on that card be a ladder match? That's what I would want.
We book it.
Yeah, so it would be a ladder match. It would be Seth, The Miz, Joe, Finn Balor, and Roman Reigns. And I think Seth loses at Money in the Bank. I think someone else wins it. So that's how I would do it.
Okay. So for me, I got Seth retaining at the GRR. Then the week going into Backlash, that Raw, same thing Finn did at after Rumble or after Mania came out. You know, you ain't beat me. You be one of them. Da, da, da. I'm starting to feel like you're running from me. When is you ever gonna give me this one-on-one shot? Da, da, da. So then I have it to be Seth, Finn, and God. Let me think. Who else is on the Raw roster right now? I'm gonna have it be Seth and Finn. And now this is a shocker, and I know this shit ain't gonna happen, but nonetheless. Apollo Creed reemerges. Rollo Cruz reemerges from his newly departed what's his name. For some reason, he knows how to cut a promo like I would, and he comes out and sets fire like they've been sticking me with the worldwide. Well, I am about to be a worldwide. I'm about to be a worldwide superstar, and I'm coming for that. That's the belt that made everybody, and it's gonna make me too. So he gets turned into that I'm on a mission type character, and I'm gonna become obsessed. Shawn Michaels wants to fight the Undertaker at Mania, obsessed to get this IC title. So I put him, Finn, and Seth in the match. Of course, Apollo takes the curb stop, and Seth retains again at Backlash. I have that spinning Apollo off into being one of the 4 participants for Raw, and he wins it in a match or something. But that hopefully is the springboard for him to take this hellbent character and get into the Money in the Bank match. Then that also reignites Finn. But now I have Phil make a heel turn after the Backlash match when Apollo loses again, and he beats the shit out of Apollo, and like Seth slides out the ring and gets away. Or no, you know what? Seth is like, it was a hard fight. Seth's a little tired. Finn beats the shit out of Apollo. He starts doing all the demon mannerisms, looking down under his eyes and kind of moving half and half and shit. And everybody get excited, but he don't do demon stuff. He just kind of like he half in, half out demonish. He just getting real pissed and shit. But he's definitely going heel in this moment. And then I bring back Ambrose, and Ambrose saves him. Like Rollins is about to get up and doesn't know he's about to get fucked up. And Ambrose comes out, and then Balor just kind of looks at him real cool on the Prince Devitt shit and does the two guns to him. And then just slides out the ring all cool and badass, runs off to the back and shit. That'll leave Seth and, Finn to play mind games up until Money in the Bank, where Finn gets the IC title for the Money in the Bank. Or he wins the IC title. As Demon Balor brings it back. No, I lie. I definitely lie. I lie a lot. He doesn't get the title at that moment. Seth wins due to Ambrose interference. Is there a stipulation on this match? No, it's not a stipulation yet. No, it is a stipulation. It is a table match. It's a table match. And when Seth's on the table, about to get a coup de grace from out the ring, from the turnbuckle to out the ring, and Dean pulls Seth out the way. Finn goes through the table, loses the match. Rollins retains. So and I'm sorry, this wasn't Demon Balor either. I jumped the gun. This was normal Finn still, but he's full heel now. He's going all the way with it. He's a heel. Goes through the table. So now when he leaves the ring that night, when he gets to the top of the thing, the lights click and he crawls, like the lights, like a spotlight goes on him, and he like does a little thing and he crawls out so people get hype. That's Money in the Bank. We'll get to the rest of that as we go to SummerSlam. Leading up to Money in the Bank, though, throughout the Raw mid-card, I would have the other four participants, or the other three to go along with Apollo, would end up being Samoa Joe, because Samoa Joe and Roman Reigns fight at Backlash. They put on a hell of a match. Roman wins clean, but it was like he barely fucking won type shit. And then Joe, he battles his way back from that and ends up in the Money in the Bank. Then Cesaro ends up in Money in the Bank, and fuck it, I'll put Elias in there before I put the Miz in there. And Elias is in Money in the Bank from the Raw side. Sure, I'm not thinking deep enough into the Raw roster, but that's their fault just on the strength that y'all only put like 4 people on TV, so I can't have time to think about how deep the roster is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then I guess Universal. So, my Universal will be pretty short and sweet. Roman wins the title at GRR because it allows them to have that, that great reaction that they're wanting. They'll be way more appreciative there than they ever would have been at WrestleMania to him to get the belt. So they'll look good for all the highlights for years to come. So he gets it there. And he goes into Backlash, beats Joe clean, but he barely wins. Then he takes it to Money in the Bank, and at Money in the Bank, throughout the whole, after the Joe match, Lesnar comes back. No, I'm lying. Fuck Lesnar. Bobby Lashley and Roman get into a little program going into Money in the Bank. Roman beats Bobby to go, but after Roman beats Bobby, Braun comes running out and chasing Roman. Roman grabs the belt, dips up out the crowd like his Shield days. Like, yeah, nigga, fuck all that bullshit. And Braun grabs the mic. I'm tired of waiting. Done with the back room say. You go get these hands. And he just drops the mic and and him and Nicholas go up the thing because Nicholas is always on his shoulder at pay-per-views from here on out. And so going in after Money in the Bank, Roman still retains versus Bobby Lashley, and he is going destined into the future, terrified that not only does he have to face Braun Strowman, but there will be a Money in the Bank winner crowned shortly as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that puts us to the end. Oh no, you got Raw. What's your universal picture?
Brock wins at the Rumble. Brock doesn't even show up for Backlash. Money in the Bank. Brock loses to Braun for the Universal title. Short and sweet.
See, makes sense. Makes sense. I just got mine a little bit more dramatic, but makes sense. Okay, so SmackDown's the smallest belt, weakest belt, obviously has to be the damn U.S. title. So,
You gotta say the U.S. is weaker than the women's belts? Damn.
Oh okay. Yeah, come on now. Lil Rick just had the women's belt, and now Mella got it.
Hello, I'm doing a podcast. Can I call you back, or is it important?
Well, while he does that, this show is brought to you by your boy. I said, hold on, commercial for Jose Inc. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Hold on.
My bad.
Well,
Back
now, as we're back to regularly scheduled programming after that short commercial. So hell yeah, USA title. Like I said, Lil Rick had that thing, and then it was and Lil Rick ended the streak, and then now Miss I Got J's Mella got the belt. So the belt is the swaggiest it's been in years right now. And then you got the US Championship. So my US Championship, to bring life back to this, which if you notice in my Cruiserweight thing, to bring life back to it, I have Cedric hold it for a while. He's going to hold it for a while. As you see, he hasn't lost it yet in my storyline. He wins the ladder match at Money in the Bank. And he's not fighting. He didn't even fight for the title at Backlash, because it's like there's a number one contender shot. We're not going to have both of them, because the number one contender spot is your Cruiserweight action. That's what's important, because the number one contender shot matters, because you get a shot at the Cruiserweight title, because it matters. Not just, here you go. They can have that shit. So, same thing with the U.S. title. U.S. title at the GRR, dude that has the title right now defends it. Then we go, that dude, Jinder Mahal. He has it, defends it, and honestly, I'm the booker, so I have to book somebody. They don't have him going up against anybody. Unfortunately, I'm not even doing that to my guy. Oh my goodness, who can take this pinfall? Okay, well look, we just gonna have to keep with the at this point we still have to keep with the meaninglessness, and I'm sorry, but they're just gonna minus Rusev, they're just gonna get the triple threat match that was supposed to happen at WrestleMania. Don't care. Jinder wins. And now we go to the Smackdown after/before Backlash, and that sees, coming from the GRR, Bobby emerge. He cried, he pleads his case. This way, I got shafted, They only want to bet on you for this reason. Orton just wanted it to pat itself on the back. I'm glorious. Everything I touch is glorious. I'll make the title glorious, And he, him and Jinder start their little conflict. They go into Backlash. The match ends on a DQ because of course, the Viper. But him coming in, catching Jinder with an RKO, this, that, and the third. As he does this, he kind of looks at Bobby like, okay, now, we on a squad together, this, that, and the third. You think they bought the thing? Bobby hits him with the blah, 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 DDT. He grabs the belt. and he yells in Orton's face, you know, this ain't you no more. This is my game. Da, 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 let it go, let it go. Throws it at Jinder like I'm gonna get the belt. Da, da, da. We're gonna ride that out to Money in the Bank. Mr. Glorious gets it at the U.S. title at Money in the Bank. Stipulation. I would be petty, but I'm not. But it's gonna be bad. Stipulation. What's it called? What's the match? The I Quit match in the Hell in a Cell. Bobby finishes him by making him scream, by making him say glorious. Instead of not say uncle, he makes him say glorious while beating him with a kendo stick.
Oh, you acting up. You acting completely different with that shit.
Make it
that
dab.
Definitely ain't gonna happen.
I ain't got no dab brash. Straight ganja. But yeah, that ain't. But hey, that's how I feel. And that's what needs to happen. Because that elevates Bobby to being heel rude again, but still the likable heel where he's cocky. He beat the brakes off of Jinder, so everybody loves him for real. They love it. If you hate him, you only hate him because you're supposed to, not because you want to. And the U.S. title is glorious. It's glorious going into SummerSlam and whatever's in between SummerSlam. So U.S. title.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all want me to dab?
Well, U.S. title. I've got. So I think I guess at the GRR, Jinder will retain. As much as I hate that.
Of course. Would they have it any other way?
I mean, they could, but then they'd just piss people off and all that bullshit. So yeah. So
we love
Jinder
you too,
retains.
Felix.
Jinder retains, and
you South.
I think for Backlash, it'll probably be Jinder versus Bobby.
Backlash.
I actually don't think Randy will be in the match. If there's another person, I would think it would be probably Rusev over Randy. So
the Erotic 2. I think that's what your name is. Or Soul the Erotic 21.
And I'm
What
gonna
up,
say
Sashi?
at Backlash, Jinder probably retains again. But at Money in the Bank, he's gonna lose to Money in the Bank. He's gonna lose to somebody. I just don't know who. You know what? He's gonna lose to Big Cass, making a return.
Who? Jinder?
Yep, Jinder's gonna lose to Big Cass. Yep, that's how I would book it.
To the U.S. title goes to Big Cass at Money in the Bank on the comeback side.
Mm-hmm.
I can dig it. I can dig it. Sucker. Okay, so now USA title. All right, so what you got for the women's title? This really should go last for me because mine is very elaborate, but it's all right.
For the women's title, I don't know what the fuck I want to do with this shit. All right, Mella is the champion, right? So Backlash, she's gonna well, she's not gonna defend. She's gonna have a match at Backlash. She's gonna lose. She's gonna lose to
haters, couple haters.
Yeah, I'm a couple haters. I'm sorry. I cannot deny this fact.
It's all right, Moonwalker. I
Uh,
got you.
Mela is gonna lose to. I guess. I'm trying to think of who we even have on SmackDown because I took Charlotte and Becky off. Oh, but I got Bliss. Okay, so yeah, Bliss is gonna beat her. Bliss is gonna beat her and win the belt, and that'll be at Backlash. Then going into Money in the Bank, you're gonna have uh, women's ladder match. It's gonna be Bliss. It's gonna be Carmella. It's gonna be Naomi, and who else do I even want to put in that match? You know what? We'll just leave it at those three. It'd be Carmella, Naomi, and Bliss in the ladder match. And I actually think Bliss will retain after doing a twisted Bliss off the top of a ladder.
Oh God. Okay. So for me, where should I start? So where I start is the aftermath of the fallout of all the Money in the Bank match. So since I moved most of the show, it flopped their roster. As you see how my Raw was, my SmackDown, I have Sasha over here, I got Bayley over here, I got Mandy and Sonya over here, along with we kept Riot Squad over here, Mela, Lana, and Tamina. Okay, so now over here, that ends us up to having, because of course we have Paige as the general manager, so can't forget that. Very important in this recipe. So Paige dipping her hand into there. Of course, we have a rivalry springing off from everybody feels like she brings Mandy and Sonya over because of favoritism, absolution, Of course, we changed their name, give them a nice little tag team name, and they instantly start beefing with the Riot Squad. The Riot Squad have the numbers, but for some reason, things just keep falling into magically happening into conveniently for Sonya in his way. And everybody keeps, you can't blame it on Paige, but it's like, it's Paige, but you can't blame it on Paige because you can't really say it was her, but you know, we'll do little funny things to like insinuate that it was her, So that ends up leading a spin-off to where who ends up in Money in the Bank. So the three females from SmackDown initially are Mandy Rose through, you know, all of course they have matches and stuff. They're going to have like a little kind of rigmarole thing between them and Absolution. I mean them and Riot Squad. So it'll be Mandy Rose, Ruby Riot, and Sonya Deville. And then Paige is holding a mystery slot in the match for somebody that she wants to announce on a later date. So then, from the fallout of the Raw side and everything that goes on into the match, you're going to end up seeing Ember Moon. Who was it? Ember Moon, Asuka, Charlotte, and Becky. Yeah, those are because as you see in the Raw one, all of them, Asuka and Charlotte kind of had a little thing going on, and then Becky ends up losing to Nia. Ronda goes on to get the title, and and Ember was making her way up, so that's where they all end up in Money in the Bank. That goes along with those three I named already, and then the mysterious fourth person. So boom, that sets up your Money in the Bank. You go over to the Bayley and Sasha thing. Sasha and Bayley, basically, you know, I have it basically where after the GRR, Bayley makes her debut. The next one, you know, I give her, you know, set up some little match between Bayley and somebody at Backlash, have it be a night, you know, give her a good opponent and have them go at it, then end up having oh, you know what, I'll give her Mela. Mella retains on Bailey at Backlash. Sasha debuts, you know, I'm here, da da da. I'm tired of all the da da da. You can't even beat Carmella, like you crazy. Da da da. Bailey snaps on her, blah blah blah. So they complete. They go ahead and they get it out the system. If fruition's at Backlash, or if fruition's at Money in the Bank in a Falls Count Anywhere match, and they beat the brakes off each other, it's just like they did. Sasha wins. Puts us to the heavyweight or the women's championship match. Women's Mella is confronted by Bliss. The shake up, she shows up. I don't need no shake up. I don't need no drive. I'm the goddess. You ain't no champion. You damn straight no princess, and yet I don't even know how you got to be a champion. So let me go ahead and take that belt. We ain't even got to have a match. Just give it to me. Mella laughs at her. Go get you a Money in the Bank, and then maybe you can get a title shot. And so she, you know, Mella plays her. That's how she ends up in the match with Bailey. Bliss stays persistent. She ends up conning her way into the into the match with what's the shit called? At Money in the Bank, the championship match. That's how her and Bliss get in there. Bliss loses to Mella because of a interference by Lana, and I make a crazy, kooky, babyface comedy, ultra stable with Mella, Lana, and Rusev as their muscle, where they're basically like her insurance policy that you're gonna keep this title because you represent the motherfuckers that ain't supposed to have it and shit. And Bliss is like, okay, I gotta restack my cards. That lets me sit her off to the side. Money in the Bank, things go ham. Riot Squad, you know, there is no rules, so Riot Squad, of course, is heavily involved, even though Ruby's the only one in the match. They keep coming up and fucking up things, which blatantly causes friction between Absolution, because they're a big part of the match as well. The Raw women are all kind of handling their own thing, crazy spots, da 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 da. And after they beat the brakes out of each other, and there's really like only 2 chicks left. Everybody's still wondering who is this last mystery person, who's the mystery person, and it finally gets to somebody's climbing the ladder, go to get a spot, and who magically pops out? The boss. She's the mystery person. She jumped out, blah blah blah. You find out that she had a little agreement with Paige, or it was really just whoever won that match, Paige was going to allow them to go in there, but Sasha knew that, so that's why she was on some extra greasy shit and confirming her being the heel, and Bailey going back to the hugger Bailey. And Sasha is Miss Money in the Bank. I said you hear. Told you it's a lot of pieces there, but it's there. And I think I used all the women too, except for Tamina. Get like me, WWE. Everybody has a job. But so what that puts us at now, the tag belts. It's funny how this list is different compared to Raw. Where what belts will go where. Okay.
Right.
Or wait, you get with me. So what you got for the tag belts? I don't know, their tag division's a lot harder.
Alright, so Bludgeon Brothers versus Usos. Bludgeon Brothers are gonna win. That's at the GRR.
Right.
So Bludgeon Brothers win, retain the belts. Kind of just re-solidifies the fact that they're like the most physically dominant tag team, or whatever you want to call it. We're gonna have a #1 contenders match. It's gonna be like the Usos versus the New Day versus, I don't even know, maybe like Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin or something like that, to determine the #1 contender. When out comes Sanity and they interfere in the match, and they basically try to say like, we're Sanity and we have the right amount of crazy to deal with the Bludgeon Brothers, and we deserve a title shot. And so at Backlash, you have the Sanity, which would be Wolf and what's his name? Alexander, I think is the other one's name. Versus the Bludgeon Brothers.
Young.
Yeah, Young, that's what it is, yeah. Young and Wolf. And they're gonna face off against the Bludgeon Brothers. They're gonna lose. But it's gonna be a good match, but they're still gonna lose. And then you're gonna have, what do I want to do at Money in the Bank? I mean, I would like to see everything be a ladder match, so I'm just gonna keep going with that. So the ladder match, it's gonna be the Usos versus the Bludgeons versus the New Day versus Sanity versus Gable and Benjamin versus, is there even another tag team on there that I can think of? I think that's all of them.
Yeah, yeah. That's every Smackdown tag team.
Yeah, so yeah, it'll be all of them except for the fucking, what the hell is their name? Brazonko. So, yeah. So it'll be a fatal.
What about Ascension?
Fatal 5-way. Yeah, fuck the Ascension. The Ascension and Brazonko are basically jobbers. So yeah, there'll be a fatal 5-way ladder match for the belts, and I actually have the New Day winning the match at Money in the Bank.
Really now. Okay.
Really now.
So me somewhat took my idea, but I have Sanity debuting the Tuesday after Backlash. I have Bludgeons retain against Usos. Bludgeons retain against New Day at Backlash in a handicap match, though. Handicap. Extreme Rules. Bludgeons versus Uso. Bludgeons retain. Sanity, though, meanwhile, the whole time they've been... They come out to the aid somewhat of the Bludgeons just on the chaotic side. Nikki comes out and does her little famous jump off the apron onto Woods when Woods is about to hit somebody with what's the thing called? Clementine? I don't know. The horn. And that leaves open, Bludgeons do something. They get the dub. Sanity, they're crazy, so it's like, yeah, we want you to have the belts because we have to beat you. And then they get to Money in the Bank. And I just have a TLC match between Sanity and Bludgeons, but it gets very, very ratchet because I'm going to have Usos and New Day interfere just on
I thought you were going to say Sasha was going to come out.
Well, you so lucky B is not here right now. When if he
I don't
sees
give a
this,
fuck. I'll say it to him on mic. I don't care.
So but yeah, I had them keep interfering, but you know what? I'm not gonna have everybody interfere, and I'm gonna have Sanity debut, but they're only gonna debut with Wolf, Young, and Nikki.
Yeah, not Killian.
Yeah, but then Killian debuts at Money in the Bank, interferes, and gets Sanity the titles. The Viking arrives in style, fashionably late, but also great. Okay, so that takes us to the big belt, the easiest one to go from here till then. GRR. Well, actually, I don't have no clue who the hell AJ Styles should or is supposed to fight. So I'm just gonna stick with the the easy stereotypical one. Him, knock, Daniel Bryan. Of course, AJ retains. Then we just ride out this evil knock madness until Money in the Bank, and then I guess I wouldn't have him have a match. I would have him. I would pull a Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair, like promote it like they're going to have a match at Backlash, and at the last minute have them both fight somebody else, and then have them fight at Money in the Bank. But I don't know. I feel like I want to have it conclude at SummerSlam, so maybe have AJ win. Yeah.
Or have not actually. Well, all right. It's your thing, so I'll let you do it.
Right. Do I want AJ to win? I want. Maybe I might just have. Yeah. Okay. AJ's going to win by disqualification because Knock Knock goes too far and brings back the full strong style. Him in doing so brings back the essence of Bullet Club AJ, where he's like, oh no, well if I'm going to have to take on strong style Knock Knock, then I might have to bring back, Wrestle Kingdom AJ, setting up for SummerSlam to be a what stipulation do I want on this match? See, I should be ignorant like we normally do, but I'm gonna keep it at least into a match that actually could possibly happen. So I will go with AJ Styles and Nakamura in a. I mean, fuck it, might as well keep with the theme of the show. TLC. But they get real, but it's very weapons oriented, very strong style, very, very, very much a New Japan match that they put on.
So basically, the match they should have had at WrestleMania.
Yes, but it just ends with, well, no, never mind. I'm lying. That was the SummerSlam match. See, you made me go too far. Well, that would be the SummerSlam match. The Money in the Bank would be something that Knock Knock could get disqualified for beating the brakes off of AJ. Too much.
So just a regular match.
Yes, but not a regular match, but a regular match.
You can't have a regular match that isn't a regular match. It don't work that way, bro.
Well, I can't think of the stipulation, so I have to settle with a regular match. But there's something that has disqualifications. Oh,
Okay.
That's what it is. A fucking 2 out of 3 falls match, and he goes too far. He goes too far trying to stomp his head out like he did Sami Zayn. AJ lose consciousness, all that good stuff. Yes.
All right.
I knew it would come to me at some point.
You good? You got everything out your system on that one?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I've got AJ versus Daniel Bryan at the Rumble, just like you. I also predict AJ wins. Nakamura completely loses it, challenges him to a match at Backlash, a Extreme Rules match. Nakamura wins. AJ uses his rematch clause to challenge him to a ladder match at Money in the Bank. And I actually have Nakamura winning that match and retaining. Very short and simple. Both of my main event cards were simple and to the point. Like, well, that's this person versus this person.
That's because SmackDown did a good job with their 2 biggest belts, so we don't have to change much.
Yeah, and Raw, it's just like whatever.
Right, Raw. I don't know shit. Raw,
baby.
Now we know who's booking Raw. Fucking Psycho Sid.
I know, right?
Psycho Sid and Big Papa Pump are booking Raw.
Right. You got that means I got 183 and a third% chance of beating you. Somebody didn't tell him you can't have more than 100% chance of doing something.
Well, now we know why Braun was confused on who his partner was, because he realized his partner was Big Papa Pump, and then Big Papa Pump didn't show up because the nigga forgot to hero himself into the thing. So Braun was like, "Fuck it, might as well find the kid."
So true. So true. Oh man. Okay, so Money in the Bank ladder matches. I've got for the men's, it's going to be Cesaro, Dolph Ziggler, Daniel Bryan, Dean Ambrose, if he's actually back by then. Can't really determine if that's going to happen or not, but I hope he is. I hope he's back by then so he can compete. Killian Dane and Bobby Lashley.
The Viking. Oh yeah, yours is completely different than mine.
Oh wait, do I need 2 more? Fuck, I think I need 2 more people. Okay,
You need 8 of them.
fuck it. The Miz, even though I hate his ass. And Baron Corbin.
Baron
There we go.
Corbin.
That's my 8. And then the women's Money in the Bank. Fucking hell.
Who wins the men's?
Who wins the men's?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say Daniel Bryan wins it. That makes the most sense. Keeps him relevant. For the women's, Jesus Christ, I don't even know. See, now I'm like trying to remember what the hell I said for the other matches.
That's what I said. That's my women's one. I had to incorporate it in there. My men's one I already know.
I think the women's I said was Alexa versus Mella versus Naomi, maybe, or Natalia, one of the two. All right. Well, whichever one isn't in it. So I think I said Naomi. So we'll say Natalia, Dana Brooke, Ruby Riott, one of the members of Absolution. I don't know who off the top of my head. Both members of Iconic.
I forgot about them.
Crazy Girl Nikki Cross. And I want the last spot to go to. I guess Becky Lynch, because I don't think I had her in the title picture at Money in the Bank. So yeah, we'll go with Becky Lynch.
Okay. Well, I already said my women's and who won the women's. Who wins your women's?
Ruby Riott.
Interesting. Ruby. Okay, for me, my men's I had on the Raw side, it was Joe, Cesaro, Elias, and who was the other person? Joe, Elias, Ambrose, and Cesaro. Yeah, okay. Then on the Smackdown side, it is Orton, Zigzag with the drag, Corbin, Daniel Bryan, and of course Joe wins. He worked his way back and he wins. And now he got the big eye thing going on every time you see him, where he got that one eye that just be open real wide, cause he like, I'm gonna get you, Roman. I'm gonna get that belt. I'm gonna get you, Roman. And so now Roman is terrified, because not only does he have to worry about Braun at SummerSlam, but at any given moment, Samoa Joe's crazy cockeyed ass could pop out and choke his ass to sleep like he'd been doing this entire damn time.
You funny for that.
guess that's all the belts, huh?
Yep, that's all the belts. Unless you want to talk about NXT.
Nah, NXT, I'm pretty satisfied. I don't really have anything to change. I just want to know what's going to happen. And
Man,
honestly,
they
I
already put out the spoilers.
probably need. Wait, spoilers.
Now, like when I looked it up,
Uh-huh.
but apparently NXT records like 3 episodes at one time.
Really now.
So they put out the results for the whole taping. So it's like literally all the weeks leading up to, or like most of the weeks leading up to Money in the Bank have already been, like, the results have been announced already.
Do I want to know that or not?
But I will say it sounds pretty damn good, so I'm satisfied with the product.
All right, well, I think I'll let my curiosity wander for a while, and then maybe I'll ask later. But that'll do it for this day. We actually didn't go as long as I thought. I thought it would have been like 2 hours or something. But some belts were short and sweet to the point. But yes, if you were watching this or going to watch this, when you hit it back, like, subscribe, share, all that good jazz. Hold on. So we're GRR, Greatest Royal Rumble, which is the 27th of April.
Yep, next weekend.
We gon' holla at y'all. Oh, next weekend, damn, yeah. Oh, it's a Friday.
Oh no, it's not. What am I talking about?
Yeah, it's like the week.
It's not next weekend. It's 2 weeks away.
But it's a Friday, and it's at 12 in the afternoon. That is super weird. I'm contemplating.
That is super fucking weird.
I'm contemplating calling off. I don't know. Or I'm contemplating switching my schedule, I should say. I don't know yet. Because I have to go in at 6, and I don't know if it'll be over by then. But we'll figure all that out later. So the petty will probably be that Saturday then, honestly.
Probably.
Most likely. So, either the night out after or Saturday after the GRR Greatest Royal Rumble, we will be back. We'll have the petty one with us, and we'll review it and let y'all know what we thought of it. Drop some stars and a whole lot of pettiness. I said you heard. This is Jose. That's Sean Nadine.
Have a nice day, YouTube.
And we'll holla at y'all. Good boys tomorrow. Shout out OKC. Hold on. Triple Dub rest. Playoffs start today. Hold on. We out, night. And Des Bryant, Houston says, come on in, bruh.